Ancient Egypt executed a god every single night, or the sun would never rise again. This wasn't symbolic. Every Egyptian temple performed this ritual at sunset without exception for thousands of years. The target was Apophis, a serpent so massive that his body stretched across the entire underworld. Apophis wasn't just another monster in Egyptian mythology. He was the embodiment of pure uncreation itself. While other Egyptian gods represented aspects of creation, Apophis represented the void that existed before anything was born. His name in hieroglyphs translates to "he who was spat out," referring to his rejection from creation. When the creator god, Atum, first emerged from chaos, Apophis was the chaos that refused to become order. Every other creature, even demons and monsters, had a place in Egyptian cosmology. Apophis had none. He existed in the Duat, the Egyptian underworld, but not as a ruler or guardian like other beings. Apophis was there for one purpose only: to destroy Ra, the sun god, during his nightly journey through darkness. Understanding this requires understanding how ancient Egyptians viewed the sun's daily cycle as an actual dangerous journey. At sunset, Ra didn't simply disappear. He descended into the Duat aboard his solar bark to travel westward underground. The Duat was divided into 12 hours, each filled with gates, demons, and challenges that Ra had to overcome. But the 7th hour held something far worse than demons. It held Apophis lying in wait. Ancient texts describe Apophis as being so large that his coils stretched for 16 cubits, roughly 24 feet. But other sources claim his body was so vast, it could encircle the entire earth 3 times over. His roar was described as thunder that could shake the foundations of the world and freeze gods in terror. Every night at the 7th hour, Ra's solar bark would enter the domain where Apophis waited in ambush. The serpent's attack method was terrifying. He would attempt to drink the entire underground river dry before Ra arrived. Without water, Ra's bark couldn't sail. Without sailing, Ra couldn't complete his journey. Without completion, morning would never come. This is where Set, the chaotic god of storms and violence, played an unexpected, heroic role every night. Set was the only god powerful enough to face Apophis directly. Even Osiris and Horus couldn't match the serpent. According to the Book of Gates, Set would harpoon Apophis through the head and force him to vomit back the stolen waters. Other gods aboard the bark would then chain the wounded serpent with iron fetters forged in the divine workshops. But here's what made Apophis truly terrifying. He couldn't be killed permanently. He couldn't even truly be wounded. As the embodiment of chaos itself, Apophis existed outside the rules that governed death, injury, and even time. The moment Ra's bark passed into the 8th hour, Apophis would regenerate completely and return to the 7th hour. This meant Ra had to defeat the exact same enemy every single night forever, without the possibility of final victory. Ancient Egyptian priests understood that their world depended on this battle happening successfully every single night without exception. They developed elaborate rituals to magically assist Ra during his underground battle against the Serpent of Chaos. The primary ritual was called the Book of Overthrowing Apophis. It was performed in every major temple at sunset. Priests would create wax effigies of Apophis, inscribe them with his name in hieroglyphs, then ritually destroy them. The effigy would be spat upon, trampled, stabbed with knives, and finally burned in a sacred fire while reciting curses. Egyptians believed this symbolic destruction on earth directly weakened Apophis in the underworld during his battle with Ra. The ritual wasn't optional or ceremonial. Priests believed that failing to perform it could cause the sun's permanent death. Historical records show these rituals continued daily for over 3,000 years across Egyptian civilization without significant interruption. But the serpent's threat wasn't just nocturnal. Solar eclipses were interpreted as Apophis, successfully swallowing Ra during daylight hours. When eclipses occurred, emergency versions of the destruction ritual were performed immediately to force Ra's release from the serpent's belly. Storms, floods, and droughts were also attributed to Apophis growing temporarily stronger and disrupting cosmic order from the underworld. Ancient texts specifically warned that Apophis had human allies on Earth who worked to strengthen chaos through immoral acts. These alleged servants of Apophis were called the children of rebellion. Egyptian law permitted executing them without trial. The serpent appeared in Egyptian art always bound, chained, or being stabbed. Never victorious, never free, always contained. This artistic choice was itself protective magic. Depicting Apophis defeated helped ensure he remained defeated in the real cosmic battle. The Book of the Dead contains specific spells allowing deceased souls to assist Ra against Apophis during their afterlife journey. Even ordinary Egyptians were expected to recite these protective spells at sunset to contribute magical strength to Ra's defense. The entire civilization organized its daily rhythm around supporting this cosmic battle. Sunset prayers, midnight rituals, dawn celebrations of Ra's survival. What made this different from other creation myths was the explicit acknowledgement that evil could never be permanently destroyed. Most ancient cultures had stories where heroes defeat monsters and bring lasting peace. Egypt had no such illusion. Their world view accepted that chaos was eternal, that order required constant vigilance, and that victory meant surviving another day. This philosophy shaped Egyptian government, religion, and daily life for millennia in ways historians are still fully understanding today. Pharaohs weren't just political rulers. They were considered essential participants in the daily magical defense against chaos returning to Earth. When pharaohs died, elaborate funerary rituals ensured they could continue fighting Apophis from the afterlife alongside Ra every night. The pyramid texts, some of Earth's oldest religious writings, contain specific spells for royal souls to bind Apophis with magical rope. One spell translates as, "I am he who binds the serpent's tail. I am he who drives the knife into his spine." But the most disturbing aspect of Apophis mythology emerged during the late period when Egyptian power was declining dramatically. Some texts from this era suggest priests began to fear they were losing the nightly battle against the Serpent of Chaos. As foreign invasions increased and traditional order collapsed, some interpreted this as evidence Apophis was growing stronger in the underworld. Ritual texts became more desperate, more violent in their descriptions of how the serpent must be destroyed each night. The final versions of the destruction ritual called for Apophis to be burned, dismembered, scattered, and cursed with eternal suffering. Yet even these extreme measures acknowledged the fundamental truth. Apophis couldn't die. He could only be temporarily contained until tomorrow night. But here's what modern scholars discovered that changes everything about this ancient Egyptian ritual practice. The priests weren't actually trying to destroy chaos. They were maintaining balance through controlled symbolic destruction rituals. Ancient Egypt's entire cosmology was built on Ma'at, the principle of cosmic balance, not good versus evil. Apophis represented necessary chaos. Without him, the universe would become stagnant, frozen, dead in its perfection. The nightly ritual wasn't about winning, it was about ensuring the battle continued forever without either side prevailing. Egyptian priests understood something profound. Total order without chaos would mean the end of time, change, and life. This is why the destruction ritual had to be performed every single night without fail for thousands of years. Missing even one night meant the scales could tip, not toward chaos winning, but toward permanent imbalance. The violence of the ritual, the burning and dismemberment, wasn't hatred. It was necessary theatrical performance. Each act of symbolic violence renewed the cosmic contract. Order pushes back chaos. Chaos tests order's strength. This explains why even as Egypt's power declined, the ritual never claimed Apophis could be permanently destroyed. The priests who wrote these texts understood they weren't describing victory. They were describing eternal creative tension. When foreign invasions increased, some priests feared not that Apophis was winning, but that balance was breaking. Their increasingly desperate rituals weren't trying harder to win. They were fighting to maintain the eternal stalemate. The true horror wasn't that Apophis might win, it was that one side winning would end existence. Modern translations reveal phrases previously interpreted as victory chance actually mean something closer to successful containment. The ritual texts praise Ra not for destroying the serpent, but for navigating through darkness without losing himself. Apophis had to remain powerful enough to threaten, but contained enough not to consume. Perfect, eternal opposition. This is why the serpent appears in Egyptian cosmology from the very beginning until the very end. He wasn't an enemy to defeat. He was a fundamental cosmic force to engage with every night forever. This ancient Egyptian wisdom speaks directly to our modern obsession with eliminating everything we label as negative. We live in an era that believes every problem has a final solution, every challenge a permanent fix. But the Egyptians knew better. Some forces aren't meant to be destroyed, but continuously balanced against. Uncertainty, change, disruption. These aren't bugs in the system. They're features necessary for life to exist. The ritual teaches that strength comes not from achieving permanent stability, but from daily recommitment to balance. Every night the sun dies. Every morning it's reborn. The battle never ends, and that's exactly how it should be. Modern psychology has rediscovered this truth. We can't eliminate anxiety, only learn to work with it productively. The Apophis ritual was cognitive behavioral therapy written in hieroglyphics 4,000 years before Freud was born. It taught practitioners that engaging with chaos through structured ritual gave them power over their fear of it. By symbolically destroying Apophis every night, they acknowledged chaos existed, but refused to let it control them. The ritual's repetition wasn't failure. It was practice. Building spiritual muscle memory for navigating uncertain darkness. What if instead of seeking lives without problems, we learned like the Egyptians to ritualize our engagement with them? What if we built daily practices not to eliminate challenge, but to strengthen ourselves through regular controlled exposure? The priests who destroyed Apophis nightly knew something we've forgotten. The goal isn't peace, but dynamic equilibrium. 4,000 years later, their ritual still teaches. The Serpent of Chaos returns every night because growth requires it. The ancient Egyptians built an entire civilization on principles we're only beginning to understand again now. Their mythology wasn't primitive superstition. It was sophisticated psychology encoded in stories that survived millennia of cultural change. Follow this channel for more forgotten legends that turn out to contain wisdom our modern world desperately needs. Each video reveals how ancient civilizations encoded profound psychological and spiritual truths in their supposedly primitive mythologies today. The serpent returns tomorrow night, and every night after. And that's exactly how it should be.